Today. Wow. Asante Sana. Thank you. My name is Meyer. I'm here, I guess, in part because I have this title, Secretary General of the International Peace Research Association. We're one of the founding or foundational organizations for peace studies and peace research and peace action. Jacinta, our sister from Kenya, is the Executive Secretary of the African Peace Research and Education Association, and Brother Jihad Abdul Mumit is a former political prisoner. But you're never a former Black Panther, you're always a Black Panther. And he's the leader of the Spirit of Mandela Coalition, Jericho Movement to Free All Political Prisoners, and many, many other things, including Muslim foundations that he'll tell you the name of himself. But I'm just going to simply tell a story by way of bringing the end of the conference, which Jacinta will do officially, to this African liberation space here. And of course, many of you are part of the conference and have been part of the conference, and we need especially just to, if all of you could help me in shouting out, we have many organizers, and it takes all of us, but especially I want to recognize Sister Irene and Brother George, our Tanzanian hosts here and in Mwanza and through these last years, bringing all of us here for this special conference on Ujamaa, Ubuntu, and a new Pan-Africanism. Irene and George, stand up for that now. I opened the conference with some words about the land. And talking about how this land coming to Arusha, for all of us from around the continent and around the world, we have people from Europe and Latin America, and I'm from North America, from this little city called New York. And coming here, the beauty, the power of this land is something that's impossible not to notice, not to feel in your heart, in your mind. But by ending the conference here on this land, on this special land that Mama C and Pete O'Neill have built on African Liberation Day, is a very special thing. This morning, seeds from South Sudan, the world's newest country, that were taken from the gravesite of John Garang, freedom fighter, during the conference 2 years ago, and brought to MSTCDC down the road, and planted, springing up into a beautiful bush now that's going to get bigger. That was part of the way we closed our time there. And it speaks to the continuity of land and struggle and definitions and redefinitions, what Pan-Africanism, what peace means in this moment. And in that context, I want to think about being a John Garang nonviolent activist. I want to think about being the kind of warrior and peacemaker like the person I want to give tribute to. We buried Baba Sekou Odinga less than a year ago in a way that was shocking and surprising. He was so vibrant even though he was an elder, and we didn't expect him. We weren't ready for him to go so fast. But Baba Sekou has important messages for us today that I'll just tell you about by telling the story a little bit. Because before Mama C and Pete came to this land, they were in Algeria with Baba Sekou building the Black Panther Party internationally in Algeria decades ago. And so the trajectory and the decisions for Sekou to go home and do some work underground and clandestinely, and Pete and Charlotte to come here and build this land, are really roots from the same tree. They are rooted in the same tree. And after some time underground, doing all kinds of political actions, concrete actions, actions to free the land, as Baba Sekou loved to talk about, amongst them freeing Sister Comrade Asala Shakur, Sekou was captured and spent 33 years in America's dungeons, tortured, survived, and came out stronger, like so many political prisoners, and lifelong Panthers. And so for many of us, when we buried Baba Sekou, we talked about how we recognized him as the general. And that is true. He was our general. He was an incomparable leader from a strategic, from a tactical, from a humanistic point of view, and that was true. But sometimes things are quiet and complicated, like the John Garang nonviolent activist is complicated. Because Sekou was something that very few people knew. He was a United Nations representative of the International Peace Research Association. No. And when we talked about building the Spirit of Mandela Coalition, by the way, not just Nelson, but Winnie, Graça, all of the many Mandelas amongst us, Baba Sekou was something else. He was one of our greatest peacemakers. He was one who talked about settling our quarrels and finding the reasons to work together, not the many, many reasons to not work together. And to me, that's the greatest lesson of our work forward. Sometimes our greatest peacemakers have to be strategic generals. And sometimes our greatest generals are our best peacemakers. Thank you.
Thank you. It's not easy to come after Matt to speak, but I try not to catch up with him. But just to say, let me begin by thanking UNSCC for